All right, folks, good morning and welcome on back here this Thursday, October 6th, shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back here for our morning meeting. Great to see Patrick, Chuck, Ray, Mark, Michael. We had Nina before, we had Egan before, we had all of us just joining us a moment ago. Did a quick mic test just prior, but great to see all of us inside the live trading room. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. You cannot see me, at least for today. I had a fuse blowout early this morning at like 5:30. 5:45 in the morning. So I was off to a hot start today. Allergies, my eyes are killing me right now. It's actually kind of hard to, be staring at a few different bright monitors. So it's a little tough here. We'll see how far I get going into the market open. But this is not about me. This is about you, and this is about the market. And I'll tell you, today I'm pretty excited about the market open at least. So, hopefully all my stuff can subside and go away. But nonetheless, the market open here looks really interesting. A bunch of different stocks popping, making some good moves, or at least teases to make a big move early throughout pre-market. So Beat being a great pop, popped shortly after 8:30, so we didn't really focus on this early throughout the pre-market trading hours. But one of our gold students, Anthony, had called this out perfect timing. And it's not just, the timing of the call out. That's very important because, he's scanning diligently. That's what we all need to be doing. So he was doing exactly that. But it's a stock that we're familiar with, right? Obviously, we've traded Beat in the past. Let me flip this weekly into a daily chart, but you could even see just from the past trading week, this thing ended up taking off for us, right? Made like a 400, 350% move across that week, and so seemingly still seems to be pushing up. Now, the interesting part about this is that it's actually breaking all-time highs, or it was early this morning. I think it still technically is above the regular session all-time highs, right off 547. Relatively new IPO, I guess. But the news that came out this morning, just for folks that are interested, because obviously there would have to be a pop to see this type of movement here, really. But Beat News Heartbeam, name of the company, announces smartwatch connectivity enablement for 24/7 heart monitoring solution. That hurt my eyes. But nonetheless, that sounds like a pretty interesting headline to come out. Led to a big reaction, big pop, and at that, all-time highs. So there's no historical charting right now aside from this, above 547. Now, with that, though, that's where we really need to keep in mind level 3, or otherwise, if you have it, level 4 book map here. So let me bring up book map right now. This ended up breaking underneath a pretty big order on the bid at 590 earlier. I'd called out about a 33,000 share order sitting there off 590. So we were hoping to see it, hold from there, not really test it or break through it as much. Just, if anything, hold the VWAP in 6 and then bounce higher. Unfortunately, did not do that. It made the initial hold, but then over time, the break and the test of the test and the break of support off 590. So this needs to sling back over the VWAP. It needs to sling back over 590. It needs to sling back over 6 even. There's a lot of resistance lined up from this point now. So that's what we need to be very mindful of, especially, going into the market open. I would expect a false break of sorts at first, and then over time to see if it could break higher. And then we'll also check in to see where the opening print is coming up at 9:30 for this trade. So that also will be a big level to watch throughout the morning. So Beat, either way, we're going to put this back on our watch list, hopefully looking to continue its move up and making all-time highs. Also, really quick, you may have seen it a moment ago. I was going to jump to it here. I had my energy drink early this morning, so I was going to just move around quick. But you could see up top about like 110,000 shares plus on the ask right off of 7 and basically 690. So, should the stars align, should this look to pop that resistance initially, 596 VWAP, if it could really break that, then you should look to see this make the move up closer towards that next resistance off that 690 and 7. All right, there we go. So one of at least a few stocks that I'm really interested in following here for the market open. A couple of others, though, of course. Peggy, PEGY, one from yesterday. We ended up doing really well on the stock yesterday. Let me flip this back to a daily. And you can just see right there. But nevertheless, this ended up making a really good move for the afternoon. Ended up making a great pre-market move at first, early in the morning, 7 o'clock. Pop from like 160-ish, 155. Took off just about 50 cents north. And then it ended up providing another bounce play later on. So, great pre-market move. But then after the open, ended up making a nice bounce once again. Nice pop back up. Broke over 225. From there, ran up beautifully up to 3. for as much as it moves up and up and up and up, like we talked about in the afternoon meeting yesterday. When is it going to look to, pull back, make a false breakout? It's not a matter of when, it's a matter of where. And that would be off a major level, off a big level like $3, whole number. Well, first test of it, yeah, it broke above it, but right back down. And it took a little while for it to look to break higher. So, I was not necessarily expecting the pop that we caught on this trade in the after hours. I mean, this ended up making the bigger move here in the after hours once the market closed. But, hey, it was moving up going into the afternoon shortly after we finished up the meeting at 2:30, ended up beginning to break higher. So, it was a great trade from there. But, man, this thing is just giving and giving. So, not at all-time highs like beat, but Peggy we'll definitely put back on our watch list here for the open. Working in like a dungeon this morning. I'm afraid of like my fuse blowing out again here because obviously that would screw things up, not just for this meeting, for my trading too, for the open. So that's why you're not getting webcam. But man, this is a dungeon right now. I got to make sure all things are good here later on. So Peggy, we have beat. Now, there's a couple of other stocks we were also looking at early from this morning that were beginning to move back up. I mean, this one's down still percentage-wise quite a bit. Doesn't look nearly as good now. It was starting to rev up a little bit here, the SNTI, but, just one from yesterday. Ended up making a big move up later on throughout the morning, taking us into the afternoon. So at least this had a really good direction throughout the day to where you could anticipate this type of afternoon run here. So, once again, during the afternoon meeting, we ended up, watching this break higher, put it on our list. It was a pretty simple trade from that point, but you don't want to get stuck chasing, right? So for as much as it moved up, broke over 5, it smashed over 5. So, off the level test, if it really explodes off the level at first, then you could hopefully look to see an initial test of support. So that's where it's easy to say, but this was support, bounce back up. It didn't really get too far, though, afterwards. You're getting too close to the close. But, yeah, for the market open here, the SNTI trade, it's just not really doing a whole lot right now. Beat and Peggy are looking really strong still. You don't want to get stuck watching a stock like this, a stock like Tops, Finger from this past week, ATXI from this week, and keep going. Kit from yesterday, and we'll jump to Kit here pretty quickly. This stock I'm not really too familiar with, so ended up making a nice move yesterday. So I said to keep it in mind, keep it on your side list for this morning. Down big, obviously, so we're not going to look to put as much of a focus on it just yet. But seemingly these were a couple of big levels to follow on this trade. Obviously, the 5 level off the break of it ended up holding off support, took a little while, but then ended up testing a resistance right off the 620 price there. So 620 should be a pretty strong level once again going into the open. 620, 630, perhaps even here from after hours trading. But yeah, I mean, we're not going to look to follow these losers. What makes the top percent gainers list one day, much more often than not, makes the percent losers list the next. So, we're not recommending Peggy or Beat as swing trades. If you're looking for a swing trade, actually, if you're inside the live trading room yesterday, I told you I was swinging Mara, M-A-R-A, a small amount of shares from the 1250 level. Really strong price from the yearly chart, let alone monthly chart. That was the 2021 open, I believe, off 1250. So with that, it's been chopping around that price for a while. Thankfully, I haven't really thought of this as a swing opportunity until now, but seeing the market move up as much as it has in Bitcoin, we're getting at least a decent short-term relief. So with that, Mara has made a nice run up the past couple, and I wanted to swing a couple of shares from yesterday afternoon into this morning, at least into the remainder of this week. I don't believe I'll swing. I'll hold over into next week, but we'll see. But nonetheless, Mara, it's a sideless stock as far as day trading going into the open. It's likely one that if the market makes another big push, you'll look to hear me call it out, and I'll look to day trade it on top of the swing trade I currently have. But the thing about this trade, if anything, huge spike from the end of the day. If you're interested, I mean, this is pretty abnormal compared to the closing bell prints that we've caught on Mara from the previous few. This one's pretty big, right from the market open on the morning of the 27th. But otherwise, I mean, you don't really see a closing spike like that too often on Mara. So that was from yesterday. That was right off the price 1284. 1284 is going to be a huge level to follow here for this morning. Now, we're following 1288 also from the day before. So what I'm going to do, just so we can kind of keep in touch with this trade going into the afternoon meeting, place a couple lines here. That's all. We'll see what comes of this area here as far as support. Now, with that, though, let's go across the percent gainers list, percent losers list. There's a couple of others that we had on our pre-market watch list that were beginning to make a nice little move here. The W key, the IMBI. So we'll check back in with those here in a moment. CCNC, it's like a cheapie, so I'm not really too thrilled about looking at it. Just wanted to quickly take a look. A little move up nonetheless here from 30 up to 42. If you caught it earlier, hey, congrats, but we're not really trading a stock below $1 unless if it's like making a convincing push up to, if it's making a convincing push up to $1, that's different. If it's right there at the dollar threshold line, of course, then that's a little different. Peggy, obviously, we talked about. Beat, we talked about. So IMBI, it popped up early this morning, broke over $1. And, with that, we were looking to put this on our watch list here. There's still a chance where it could, break over the VWAP, break over $1 again. There's a little resistance here. $1, 26,000 share order on the ask at 102. You got the VWAP right off 103 right now from pre-market trading. So it's a little tough, but it could be one to follow. I'm sure there was some news that came out from this morning. I didn't really care to check, so my apologies there. But let's see what else we got first. We'll maybe come back to that IMBI at the end. W key at least making a better trend, a bounce back up. It wasn't necessarily at first after 8 o'clock, but now it's breaking back over 2. It's trying to hold over the VWAP right now as well. W key is also a stock that we are relatively familiar with, not from recent as much, but over the years we've called the stock out. And this may have even been prior to a reverse stock split that the stock could have had. So, not to say the stock really went from 10 up to 45. That could have just been inflated from like a reverse split. But, it goes to show the stock has made a pretty big move in the past, like a, 200-300% move at that over a series of days. So we're familiar with it. I'll put this on our radar here on our watch list. All right, Proverb, PRVB. We got a bunch of P's here on the at least gainer side here. Peggy, Proverb. We'll get to pins. We have Pulse, which I don't know if it's up that much now. That thing dumped off, but PRVB at least, a little spotty now in terms of the chart. Points of little inactivity where not really a whole lot of volumes being traded. No trend really. It was trending very nicely early this morning, so hopefully it continues. It's up over 16%. Wouldn't necessarily hurt us to put this on our watch list, but I try and focus on what's best, and you don't want to get stuck with like a 20 stock watch list at the end of it all. So CSCW, a lot more liquid at least. It is trending up similar to that W key stock, and this one we are relatively familiar with. I think just from the last few trading days, right? From yesterday and then from even the day before, although it closed red, I believe that we had traded it back on Tuesday of this past week or Monday of this past week, I should say. And it popped up, pulled back. So, it's been trending back up ever since and pushing up a little bit here now. So I don't mind adding this as well, CSCW. All right, Pinterest. I think Goldman Sachs ended up doing an upgrade on them from 24 to 31 price target. And we talk about these like crazy upgrades and downgrades at times. Like at least that one's like kind of within the realm of possibilities and trading otherwise. It's like currently trading at 26. It was at 24.75-ish yesterday. Like that sounds like a normal upgrade, right? Sometimes you'll see these analysts like downgrade a stock 8 months after the fact. It's like, all right, maybe could have done that earlier. So, ended up getting a nice little push up in the after hours, from yesterday. A little spotty right now, but it's a stock that does trade some good volume. It's a stock that we are familiar with. So I'll add Pinterest here to our radar as well, to our watch list. I don't know why I keep saying radar. All right, let's hop over to the loser side right now, folks. Market's like a little wonky right now. It was pushing up a little bit, but had pulled back. It's making a little support here, a little consolidation perhaps over time. So, I don't really see much else that's up big. You got all these percent gainers from yesterday that are now losers. Finger, ATXI, SNTI, tops. I do not care to really look at them, folks. If they are making a really, really strong push up, let me know. I actually accidentally clicked on Kit here, so that's even a waste of our time. You can see it's dropping down more here, so not really doing much. APRN. Wow, it's like already a $2.66 stock. This thing was like, yeah, like $6 last week. Pretty crazy. This thing took a huge hit back from Monday of this week. I forgot. All right, well, can't really short it. So, and at that, geez, we're below 5% on the loser side already, folks. So let me know if there's anything else that looks good. I guess we're not really at an overwhelming amount of stocks here at this point on our watch list. Neo side list, nothing really to it there. Mara, I'm more interested in. Mara, I'll slip on our watch list just because the size of that print, that's like pretty interesting to me. It's still a little spotty as far as a chart, and it's only up 0.7%. So I really don't like that part, right? But the size of that closing bell print we don't see too often. So I feel like we'll see a nice little move off the 1288, 1244 going into the open. If markets really drop off today, then I would assume for Mara to break below that price and for that to be resistance. And then at that point, I may just get out of my swing on the last remaining shares I have. That's all. That's the game plan, folks. Let me know if there's anything else otherwise. Up, down, left, right, more than 5%. Current time 9:16. I thought I was running late, but we're doing good. That's what happens when you have your energy drink at 7:45 in the morning. All right. Mots. What do we have with Mots here? This little pop here, nice, up over 14%. It is a stock we're familiar with, and unfortunately more on like the pop and drop side of things, just from as you could see the daily chart back from last week. And then I think even before that, if I can go back. But, Mott's at least right now making a nice little squeeze this morning, trying to hold over like 208, 210. I feel like it will pull back and test 2 eventually here, probably shake off the VWAP and shake lower to 2. But, yeah, Mott's for right now. I'll add to our watch list here. Looks good. All right. Michael says tops off the off big from yesterday's pop. Yep, exactly. Unless if it's trending really well upward, I'm not going to be as interested in it just yet. I'll look at it, I guess. Nah. Nope. All right. Let's see what else we got here, folks. Anyone on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube? I think that we may have run through everything, and that's fine by me. I mean, we'll look at like a couple of sideless stocks, cruise lines, airlines, gaming stocks, etc. NCLH, very tradable. Brian, I know that you've been doing pretty well on that stock the last few days, last few weeks. With that, it's trending. It trended up pretty nicely, then pulled back. So, hey, if you do well on the cruise lines or in NCLH in particular, I'm sure that you'll be more inclined to follow it. CCL is like a top volume stock on the most active list, but it's like really flat here this morning. American Airlines, not a whole lot to it there. Do a gaming stock like an MGM, no real activity. And I would assume the same to be said there on Penn or any of the others. Maybe at Twitter. Is Twitter still halted or no? All right, there we go. It's trading. All right, so Twitter going into the open. I know that Elon obviously sent off the original proposal again to buy it at like 54 and change. If you're asking for an opinion on, what's going to happen to Twitter, well, once the buyout's made official, if it ever gets made officially official, then it would flatten around that price for a little bit. Given the volatility, though, and given like Elon and like the amount of people interested in it, perhaps there could be a little movement to it once it's made official. As far as right now, though, hey, it's active. This thing's moving. It's trending up pretty nicely here. It's going to have more volume on the order book upon the market opening up as well. So if you're thrown off based on the liquidity, my hope is that the order book will become more liquid. A little expensive, but Twitter, in particular, I'll put on our watch list. You got to figure there's going to be a lot of people following this trade just because of Elon. And again, if you're looking for an opinion on it, I don't really have an opinion on it. Everyone either likes him or hates him. He's very polarizing. I guess I do have an opinion personally. I do enjoy him. He's funny on Twitter, on like the app, like a lot of memes and funny crap on there. He's also a visionary, also a genius, I feel. So, whatever his shtick is here with Twitter and all the drama going around it, I mean, hey, if you don't like him for that and whatever, all right, fine. But that doesn't move the stock up or down. It's the volume that moves the stock up or down. So you know that there's going to be a lot of volume, as there already has been 2.3 million shares traded on the stock already. But hey, nonetheless, going into the open, we'll keep this on our watch list. All right, folks. I think that just about wraps it up here for me. Fausto should be back shortly, if not next week, perhaps sooner. I don't want to give your hopes up just yet, but likely by next week, he will be back in the saddle ready to go. But if you have any questions, though, for folks for me on social media, feel more than free to send it over through email. josh@c2trading.com is my email. But otherwise, if you're interested in joining our live trading room, feel more than free to go right down to the link on the blue banner below right there on the stream to get yourself started. But for Brian, for Leda, for Nina, for Skip and Patrick, Michael, Grant, Wendy, John, the 95 of us right now inside the live trading room, I look forward to talking to you folks coming up right here at the Market Open. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.